Hello there folks, this is Ferengi on board here. Welcome back to my YouTube channel, a place where I discuss different topics like spirituality, deeper introspection, game interpretation, dream interpretation, game design and well other topics, but rare times even random questions from Quora that I feel I can connect with. For a while I have been ditching Quora questions because they kind of seem to be shutting down my posts, which I create the videos and then I post them on Quora, and I just post a link and they say that it's not good because you're funneling people towards external sources. So okay, if they don't simply want that, although I've read a post that there's no problem in directing people towards something like that. However, I simply don't find any interest in Quora that much. However, the point of today's video will be immortality, and well, this is something that kind of many people may think or wish for, though this this term has been somewhat perverted in a certain way because of the way the human fears actually work. Now the point about this is, you see, immortality is kind of the opposite of shedding the cloth of mortality, right? The point of hiding away from death. Now there was a story I think I read or I saw in a movie, I don't know, was it Harry Potter, was it Irish folklore, folk tales that I read? I really don't know, but there was a story about three folks, and these friends or brothers, I don't know what they were. These three folks ended up in a forest, somewhat of a dense forest, and they had to cross over a very narrow river. However, it seems there was something fishy about that river, so instead of swimming through it, they just came up, or one of them came up with an idea and said, why don't we just build a small bridge over it? So said, so done. They gathered some wood and they just put them over there to create a small ledge, like, I don't know how to call it, a small bridge, let's say. And so they crossed the so-called bridge. And if I remember correctly, yes, there were actually three brothers, the older one, the middle-aged, and the the youngest one. I don't think there was much of a difference in terms of years, because I said middle-aged, so I don't know if okay, oh yeah, it doesn't matter. Okay, one was the eldest, one was in between, and one was the youngest. And once they cross the bridge, they are greeted by death herself. Now why so is because these three folks finally seemed a bit more ingenious than the common folks who would just try to swim over that bridge, which was over that river, which was kind of problematic. I don't remember why. And the point about that was that river would claim a lot of lives, so death in a way felt a bit cheated by the ingenuity of the people. So death said, well, anyways, they are gonna die, so why not give them a boon, right? Boons are usually more typical of the Eastern societies, okay, where different deities present themselves to you if you do something, okay, that allows them to be free, or I don't know, you get in contact with them, they may offer you a boon or three, depends. Now the point about these were that the three actually each made a pick. One of them decided that, hey, you know what, they wanted, I don't remember, fame, they wanted something, and I think they actually wanted, since they were also somewhat sorcerers, he wanted the strongest wand possible made out of a special tree. And well, with all that power, death actually granted him the boon, and with all that power he became a mighty wizard. However, the point is, each of them in a way thought immortality, okay? The first one wanted infinite power, okay? And when someone wants infinite power, it's gonna be used as what I call a drug activity, technically something that they gonna use in order to run away from something, okay? Now, especially in the Western societies where death has been promoted as the worst thing that would happen, because that's how narcissistic minds actually function. Death is kind of the most hideous thing that can happen to the narcissistic mind, because the narcissistic mind is ever perfect, and death will come and actually snatch all of that. So he wanted ultimate power, probably thinking that through that they would also acquire immortality. That is not mentioned. However, they just died because someone else came and simply stabbed them to steal the wand. The second one wanted his wife to be revived, and this was kind of, again, partly pissed death off, because it was something against its purpose, against her purpose, but death actually granted him the boon. I don't remember how he perished, but well, he also had a kind of a bad fate, while the third one simply wanted to be immortal, okay? Now, the point about that immortality, in this sense of the word, he was given immortality by being given a cloak. As long as he would wear that cloak, he would be invisible to death. And with death having been pissed by his older brothers, and sooner or later claiming them, because if you mess with certain forces, you're bound to have, each action has its own reaction, and the consequences were also not gonna be too far away from them. But the point about this is very simple. The third one, death sought for him for quite a while. Now, the point was, the father kind of realized that immortality was kind of a not necessarily a bad thing, but it kind of is counterintuitive. You're gonna reach a certain level in which you're simply gonna prepare yourself to depart. That's how things go. Now, suddenly being trapped in a body that won't let you go, there will be all sorts of, let's not call them punishments, but they will, or they can be interpreted somewhat like that. Now imagine that you no longer have anything to do, and this will also stir within you something like you don't want to do anything, so you're gonna be trapped in that I can't call it stress, more like anxiety and such, because the moment it's like when you don't age, because that's what immortality is about. When you don't age, right, and you can live infinitely, the point is you will experience sooner or later whatever you would want. And since immortality is what interests you, then your vibration is very, very low, okay? It's at the level of survival, because the only reason you would want immortality is so that you don't die. And speaking about this low vibration, you will function at a vibration in which your ego will easily control you, right? And well, your ego is technically just a puppet controlling you, because there are other forces beyond your ego that control you through that, okay? And the reason why you'll feel bad is because you're straying away from your authenticity. So immortality won't make you authentic, and the more you stray away from authenticity, the more you will suffer. It's not because I say so or that I would want it so, it's just because, well, the point about this is very, very easy to understand, okay? The universe has some principles by which things have to work, okay? Immortality is definitely included in those, but there are some occult ways, in a way that one can reach immortality, but those don't include preserving your body, okay? Now the point about this is there are some ways, okay? When I was very young, I thought about one such way, which meant replication of my mind, and creating some thoughts that I would invade other people's minds, and through that, the point was that I could simply invade other people's minds, and I could simply create a network, something that would connect me to the other person's mind, so that I could simply, transfer my being into the other body once my invasive thoughts would clear anything that would disallow my entering in there. Now this point is a bit flawed. I'm sure at an occult level it can be reached. Science says that, scientists say that they're pushing towards this scientifical aspect, more like fantastic aspect of, turning humans into machines, and being able to implant human awareness into machines, right, into a machine body. That will never ever be possible. And well, because with whatever technology we have, that is not possible. Okay, we have been born here to live in the idea of the flesh and bone. Okay, that's what a human is. In order to create a robot and build it, you need to also transfer a lot of multi-dimensional aspects within that robot. Okay, because the moment you strip, or you may get to strip if you ever do that, so-called human awareness, okay, from the physical body, the question is, do you think you can also collect also the karma that that person has? Okay, because that memory, that bunch of memory, is what the being will require to survive. Okay, because that karma is technically the bonds that keep you in this body. Once that karma is simply lit, okay, is well faded, you will simply leave your body. Now the definition of immortality would be the idea of no longer aging. Technically your time has stopped. Now the point about time is, it's more like a concept built so that we can exist around it, and we can coordinate our moves, and put ourselves in tune with the lunar cycles and the solar cycles, right? And that we would also have some concepts that the mind could make use of, right? Because the mind will always require meaning. Going beyond the mind, there is no longer any need for meaning, because, well, technically you don't need any meaning anymore. Okay, the mind cannot comprehend that which is beyond itself. That is why many concepts like life and awareness, wakefulness, consciousness, these are concepts that always minimize something which is much greater, and something that does not necessarily exist. We have given it an existence and an importance because we are simply so obsessed with giving meaning to everything, because if we can't if we don't have a meaning attached to something, we have the feeling that we can't control that. So technically the way our narcissistic minds work is that we want to give meaning to something just because of the illusion that we are also controlling that, right? We have the feeling that we are controlling that certain aspect. And we're doing that with our children, for example. We are giving them a name which is nothing else than meaning. And then anyone who uses your name will do so because, at least subconsciously, they are feeling that they have a certain amount of control over you, namely because they know your name. Some people also give names to their guardian angels, and religion kind of says you shouldn't do that because they don't necessarily have a name. They have that so-called like the holy name, which you can really call them by, but what comes to you is basically a projection of them. Divinity never comes to you because it can't simply come to you. You have to raise your vibration in your awareness to get easier in touch with the idea of divinity. Okay, this is something that most people may not fully take into account. So immortality in time, especially with movies, sci-fi, cinema and such, the point of immortality, it went so far beyond this idea of no longer aging, okay, but it went into the idea of being totally indestructible, which is kind of ironical in a way, because so long as you have a physical body, you will be destructible, okay? Like, one almost immortal character that one may think of is technically Wolverine. Even at his age, he still looks young because his body is capable of defeating quickly any disease, adapting to any disease, and any injury he has, he can simply regenerate quickly. It's not an instant regeneration though, so that's already a possible weakness. and well, I don't know if he's basically immortal or not, okay? But another one would be Deadpool, right? He can be sliced in bits, but the question is, what happens if you cut his head? Will there be two Deadpools living? Or, well, his body will be simply shed and his head will probably grow the rest of the body back, but you know, it depends. What if you throw him in some volcano or something like that, you know, just like Wolverine? The only way he could, or people thought he could be killed, was in a bath of acid, but well, there are many other ways you could simply destroy someone. Like, you can use sound baths with certain frequencies that create distortions. You could use a very small, what was it called, neutron bomb, that's gonna like almost instantly neutralize any living being, and there's no way of actually fighting against it. And there are so many other ways. Nuclear bomb, you know, like radiation and the such. Well, probably to radiation he may actually adapt. It might actually make him even stronger, but you know, I just gave a few ideas, okay? A black hole maybe, or throw him in outer space, you know, like there are a lot of ways that so-called immortal beings can be destroyed, okay? Because immortality does not mean being indestructible, okay? There are two different concepts. Immortality just means that whatever happens, your physical body simply regenerates and just regenerates, okay? It can heal itself quite well, but it's not an instant healing. So if something like the damage constantly being done is faster than the body's capability to regenerate, then it's still gonna kill you. You're gonna be very durable to many diseases maybe, but it doesn't mean that one day a certain virus may not creep within you and simply kill you. So the point is, the closer you are to immortality, the more you will be afraid of actually losing it, okay? And all this worrying and fear will actually draw specifically that which you are thinking of, because when you worry, you're actually gonna attract specifically that, okay? Because it's emotion that you put out to the universe, and it's also, worse than that, imagery, because you're gonna imagine all sorts of ideas and you know, scenarios in which you can simply lose your immortality and actually die, right? And imagery plus emotions, well, that's like technically begging the universe for those things to actually happen. That is why I'll always remind people that they are evil people. You know, the moment you simply fear for your children, or you know, you have those funny ideas of worry, right? They're gonna go abroad with the car and you're gonna think, oh my god, what if the car breaks, what if that happens, what if they get robbed, what if someone shoots them? That's technically like constantly begging the universe for those things to happen. And worse than that, I actually bet you're not even thankful to the universe that it doesn't actually listen to you, because you know, let's actually put it straight, okay? Like, if the universe was to actually give any one of us whatever we have wished, I think we would have been screwed a long time since, okay? Funnily speaking. So the point of immortality, okay, immortality is nothing else than a hoax. It is nothing else than an illusion. So long as physicality exists, there is a code that is being read, and that code is being iterated again and again and again and again. It probably works in a loop, but you know, in programming you never ever deal with infinite loops, okay? Just like life is not an infinite loop as well. It will go on again and again and again for a certain number of times. So the point of yogic sciences, for example, they state that life is a cycle of 84 years. Only then a life is completed. It is said that once someone lives 84 cycles of, you know, 84 cycles of the planet around the sun, namely 84 years, the point is that is considered a life fulfilled, okay, a life lived from beginning to its end. Again, people can live beyond that, but the point about immortality is that you're not indestructible, okay? You may have this genetical aspect that allows you to live long, but if you want to live long and you will leave your body sooner or later. The point is, you can simply take control of as many aspects of your life as possible, like your breath, the way you think, the people you invite in your life, and all sorts of things. Okay, what you eat, how you keep your body posture, okay, how mindful you are of the things within you, all of these, and how you handle your emotions, all of these are actually things that simply drain you in time. That is why you get to live so much less, and all the damage that you're causing to yourself, few people ever take that into account. So all this being said, the point of this immortality is many people have been poisoned in by sci-fi, that they think robots are simply immortal. Don't worry, they also have their own signs of they all have their own signs of getting old. They can rust, they break, right? Just like in Stellaris, if you play Stellaris with the machine intelligence, right, the robots, now it will say that your leader and actually your the ruler and the leaders are all immortal, which sounds pretty tempting, but they can still break because of numerous things. And your scientists, when you send them out to explore certain things, they still can be killed. Okay, so the point is, they are immortal in the sense that they don't age. Now people have this funny sensation, this funny feeling that if they embody themselves in a mechanical body, in a cybernetic body, they simply won't die. And it's still gonna be the same fear. Okay, it's gonna be the same fear. What if this metal that I'm made from will rust, and you will constantly seek to create better and better alloys, which will cost again more and more, so you're not gonna do anything else than torment yourself for the rest of eternity. And all this pain and the such will just create a lot of karma within you, and you're gonna have to endure that in your following lives as well. So the point about putting yourself in a cybernetic body, I actually created a video on this. Like, do you think a cybernetic body would be more resilient than a physical one? When the physical one has the biological one has symptoms of diseases and the such, it can actually live quite long with those, right? You can actually treat it, you can actually cure it. The cybernetic body will be so much faster. If you have a virus in your mind, you're gonna go haywire in like as short as possible. Both bodies are controllable from a distance, with occult technology. Someone can actually dial in to your imbalances, and they may actually get at least a bit of control over you, especially since we are not taught how to prevent that from happening to us, and how to make sure that we don't live other people's lives, because this is what most of us are doing. We are constantly being stuck in different aspects, in different memories, in different things that caused an imbalance, and technically they did a blockage in there, and we simply cannot evolve beyond that. And that is why so many people behave in a childish way, because of childhood abuse that causes some blockages within them. That is why there are so many people who just want, most likely because their parents didn't give them the toys that they wanted, didn't give them the love that they required, and all sorts of other things like this, inhibiting their dreams, cutting their wings whenever they wanted to use their imagination and fly, and constantly pulling them down and like crippling their imagination each and every time possible. So the point is, in order for something to exist, something within is kind of being burned. Okay, just like in order for an engine to work, there is something that is being burned, right? The fuel. And life is kind of the same thing, right? And there is a sort of force that, let's call it gravity, that in a way exists and keeps your body bound, but that gravity actually requires some resources. Okay, it's like a little black hole which is feeding off of the karma that allows you to exist, and when that karma gets depleted, you're gonna leave the body regarding of what you were actually doing. Okay, some people who know who are approaching natural death, they kind of have a feeling from a certain time that they know when it would happen. Now people in this life They don't know when they will happen. This is something that many people can get to know, but the point about many is that if you know when you would die, the point is many people would be simply discouraged. Many people would be enraged or truly fearful and the such. So the point about this is, well, it's gonna be quite a long story, so I'm not gonna discuss too much on that though. But immortality is not something that you will achieve by moving into a cybernetic body, because think about that. When one of those pieces simply breaks, the whole body shuts down, okay? Your biological body can withstand a lot of damage, okay? Even with a very sick liver, your body can still withhold, okay? Now, of course, when the damage to a certain organ becomes critical, the body may still hold, but again, it also matters how much you're gonna take care of your body, okay? So many people sacrifice their health to gain wealth, and then they have to sacrifice their wealth to try to gain their health back, okay? And it's rarely gonna ever work. So the point about immortality is, it's not something that you should seek, okay? Immortality doesn't mean that you are indestructible. It's just something that you wouldn't age, but come again, there is no such thing as an age. Irrespective of what body you have, anything that is physical is simply temporary. That's how this universe works. Everything that is physical is simply temporary. They might exist for billions of years, hundreds of billions of years, or whatever. They will simply be temporary. It doesn't matter how long it might last. The point about time is that we have created time the way we thought most suitable, okay? But that's just it. There is nothing more or nothing less behind this, okay? It's just that everything that is physical has a certain time. When that time is depleted, that will be replaced by something else. So if you're still looking for immortality, I doubt you'll ever find it beyond the idea of psychiatry words or in someone's dreams, okay? The mind can always think of any possible way, but if you seek immortality, most likely you are kind of a tyrant that's afraid of dying and has some kind of opinions that other people are against you, so you just want to outlive them, right? And the more you want to strive towards this so-called concept of immortality, the more you will simply go insane, because immortality is very far away from your authenticity, so you'll also suffer a lot, okay? Every action has also a certain reaction, okay? There is something that happens after each and every choice that you make. So all this being said, hopefully you like the type of content that I'm creating. Feel free to like and subscribe, feel free to comment and provide valuable feedback. Feel free to share this with other people, so together we may raise people's awareness. And all this being said, you are loved and appreciated. Feel free to also guide people towards my account in case you feel that my guidance, my wisdom can actually help them more, because the closer you are to certain people, the more they will doubt your pieces of advice. So you might actually need to find someone else to help them, or provide them with one or two ideas, because you have to understand, it's not your purpose to simply fix people, okay? All this being said, you are loved and appreciated. Take care, become more introspective, and you'll see that the answers that you've been looking for are easily found within you. All this being said, take care of yourself, your loved ones. Ferenc Board signing out.